How's it going, everyone? My name's Mike Latender, and you're watching This Old Hot Rod on YouTube. Appreciate you guys coming back and checking out, seeing what I got going on today in the shop. I am working on the 27T Roadster. I got my propane heater running, so you hear that background noise. I apologize. It's a little chilly in the garage this morning. It's still early. It's cold out last night. I'll probably get a chance to open the doors to get some sunlight and some heat in, but it won't be for a little while. So last night I got done, I wrapped up the seat pan underneath the bug-eyed Sprite seats. I need to build some risers for the front of the seat mount so I can get these seats actually bolted into the car. And then I'll kind of be able to determine whether or not I need to make any other modifications once those risers are in. What those risers are actually going to allow me to do. So right now with that driver's seat sitting in the car, let me move the camera over, I'll show you guys. So right now with this driver's seat in the car, located where it's at, it's actually rotated to the right some because the front of the frame is hitting the sill plate. Setting this seat frame back, again it's rotated, but if I were to lift up the front, I actually can slide it and rotate it over the sill, and that will put my seat in direct alignment with the steering wheel. I'll be able to do the same. Once I set it back and lift up the front, I can clock it to the right, and it clears this sill plate. So that's what I need to do. Gonna probably end up being about a half an inch, maybe a little bit higher. All right, so what I noticed when I just had the seat sitting in the car with the riser on it, or under it, rather. All right, you see this point? It comes down to a point, so when you rotate it, this actually goes lower, which it will because the fulcrum is here. What I need to do is I actually need to shorten this. So I kind of need to eliminate that. Instead of it coming down, I'm going to have it come. I'm just going to shorten this. This side particularly, and then it'll be the opposite side on the passenger, because it's hitting the sill plate. Let's see how that works now when it's in the car. That should eliminate that binding problem. I'm really happy I found these seats, you know? Something I've been looking for a while. Alright, that is definitely going to be an improvement. Yep. See, it doesn't bind now. So before, it was so low that it was hitting, and it was actually raising the seat. So now that's corrected. Right there is where the seat's going to be located. Right there. So I have a 1-inch spacer underneath here right now. I thought that was a little bit more than what I was going to need, but it actually works out pretty good. I think I may have some other stock outside that maybe I can just run it all the way across, and then I can just I'll weld that and just drill into it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. This is thick enough where I can actually thread it, but I don't think I have enough of this to go all the way across. I'll show you real quick what. Alright, so I'm going to run back real quick and look and see what I have for a 1-inch stock, and come back in, we'll get that cut and get that welded in place. Put this sub rail, sill plate to sill plate. 33 1/4. Front edge, 33 3/4. is I need to actually notch the bottom a little bit, and I'll show you why. So on the front, at the ends of the sub rails, the long sub rails, the main sub rail sits on top of the rivet. So what I need to do is I actually need to just notch the bottom just a tiny bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch, just to clear that structure. Both ends. Because otherwise it's going to sit on top of, it won't sit flush with the sub rail. It'll have a space. I don't want it to have a space. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little bench wire wheel instead of my Eastwood fancy tool. I'm going to get that piece of bar stock cleaned up. Got a little hairy at times. There's no forgiveness with that tool. So it's pretty clean, cleaner than it was. Clean enough. I'm gonna hit these ends real quick. Hit these bottom edges where I'm gonna weld it, and then I'll be ready to go. I'm gonna have to clean up that sub rail. That's where it's going to sit right there. It's a 1-inch rise. And that'll give the seat some, tuck it down in the back and roll it up in the front. Alright, cool. I'm gonna fix my ground finally on my welder first. So I'm gonna fix that and then we'll get back to welding that piece in place. Welder's fixed. Put a new ground clamp on it. Now it's time to get it welded in place. I'm gonna throw a few tacks on it for now. So that was my solution to not having quite enough room. Raised it up, moved them out. I didn't have a space before. Now I have about 1 inch clearance in between the two seats. So I'll be able to get the hardware and everything set in there. And that's it. So I'm going to get these holes drilled. I can't tap this isn't thick enough. So I'm actually going to have to go down through bolt the seat into the frame. Either that or weld a nut into this tube, this box tubing. What's up, everyone? I'm still working in the shop. I've been in here just kind of messing around, It started to warm up a little bit, sun's out, so I got to shut the heater off so you can actually hear me talk. I got the seats, I want to say mounted, but they're temporarily mounted. Drilled some holes and put in some 1 inch or 1.5 inch self-tappers. They went through the riser down into the subframe, so just to give it some bite. So they're very well attached, let's just say. Attached them front and back, all 4 corners. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I ended up, if you look in between the back seats on the back, underneath that mount, see down here, I added this little wedge. It's about 3/4 of an inch on the front to nothing in the back, or about 1/8 of an inch in the back, just to fill in this point here. My battery died on my screw gun, so I didn't finish drilling the hole, but again, they're in there good. You can see the seats pivot forward. I ended up modifying down here on this side, on the passenger seat, same as the driver's side, to let it rotate. So that's good. So as far as I'm concerned, the seat location's done. I will have to drill some bigger holes, do some inserts, or weld in some nuts. Once those are in, we'll be able to bolt the seats down, it'll be good. But for now, I'm gonna move on. At some point over the next probably week or so, I'll get a couple pieces of just shitty plywood, cut some plywood panels for this. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna just do a real thin strip of plywood, real thin. And I'm gonna use that 1 inch frame welting, or that webbing, and I'm going to make my own webbing so the seat bottom will actually sit down some, because I have all this room right here that I want to use that up. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these seats bolted down for good for now to the subframe. I'm not going to bolt them to the frame. The body's already bolted to the chassis. I don't need to add any additional bolts. So I'm going to get these seats bolted in, and then I'm going to wrap up this video. What I'm going to do first, I just got to pop these self-tappers out of here. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up my rib nut tool. If you haven't seen one of these, this is what the tool looks like. I actually already have an insert threaded onto the tool. So this is what the tool looks like. It's called the rib nut tool, or a threaded insert tool. May not be adequate for seats, but what I'll do is I'll just kiss the top of this with a flap disc, and then I'll weld around the outside edge, trying not to get the threads. So that one's junk. I have a whole box of them. So now what I need to do is I need to get a hole drilled, 6 holes drilled right now, and I'll get these rib nuts, or threaded inserted into the car. I got my, this is the proper drill bit, so I need a 7/16 bit for that particular insert. Let's get this all set. We'll get these seats bolted in. Then I can move on to the trunk. Looking forward to doing some sheet metal work. do, I'm glad I kissed that with the flap disc. I'm gonna end up having to weld this all the way on to make sure that's nice and secure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually weld these onto here. So let's do that real quick. Like I said, on the back here, what I think I'll end up doing is I have the holes already drilled through the pan into the chassis. I'll drill that hole, the 7/16, to thread this bolt down through. So this bolt will be threaded right through the body into the chassis, into the plate, a large 1/8 inch thick 3/16 plate that goes across the frame. I'm gonna get those welded on. And I'll bolt these back. I'm gonna go see if I can find some smaller bolts. I don't know that I have them, but hopefully I do. All right, guys, I found a bunch of hardware that I think is gonna work. It doesn't all match, but it doesn't matter. Got some shorts for the back and some longer ones for the front. What is it? What is it hitting? I feel like it's hitting something. Okay, so what I have is 3 bolts on each seat at this point. On the fourth, on the back corner, so on the far side, on the outside of the passenger and the outside of the driver's, I need to do what I did in the middle of the seat. So what I need to do is I need to add an angled riser like this. If you can see underneath the seat or not, and here's why. See that big space under there? I need to add a riser on this side and also that side, because I don't want to bolt this down and have it pull the seat out of alignment and out of shape. So I just want it to be nice and flat like it's supposed to be. But so for now I got the 3 bolts. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up actually welding another riser right to the floor. I'll finish weld it. Maybe what I'll do is I will put a bolt through. I'll put it right through all the way so I know so I know in the future those seats aren't going to go anywhere. So I think I'm going to end the video here. I'm really excited to get the cushions built for the car. It'll be really cool to actually be able to shape the cushion and get in there and actually sit down and use the pedals and whatnot. A local viewer who gave me some old tools, gave me a bunch of old car parts. He donated some old cushion to me, so I'm going to be able to cut that up and use that in the seat bottoms. I have some 1-inch and 2-inch foam also that is used for upholstery. I purchased that for the 34 coupe. I don't want to use that up, but if in the event I need to, if that doesn't work, that foam doesn't work, then I may just end up cutting into the package. That is from Albright Supply. It's a upholstery company. I ordered everything for the T. I'm sorry, not the T, the 34. Joe and I put together an order, and I put that order in a while ago now. So, but obviously I jumped onto this. But in any event, I'm looking forward to getting the seats put together so I can actually sit in the car and get the final position of where I'm going to be sitting. That'll end that as far as the seating and the T goes. Bug crawling on my shirt. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate everyone following along. If you like what I'm doing, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Tomorrow morning, I'm driving up to Maine to pick up a set of Firestone Pie Crust bias ply tires. You can't get them from Coker. You can't get them from Lucas Tire. You can't get them anywhere at this point. And there was a guy selling a complete set on Craigslist, I believe, is where I found them. 750 16s, black walls, and 525 16s for the front. I guess they only have a couple thousand miles on them, so set up a time with him. I'm going to take a ride up tomorrow morning and pick those up. Those are just going to go on the shelf for the future. Maybe if I may end up running them on the T. I have a set of 16x4 wires that I think this car would look really good with. That would really even turn the clock back even further. It would end up looking like a, you know, like a late 30s, early 40s hot rod instead of a mid to late 40s hot rod. So I'm going to mount those tires on those wheels, and I'll have some options. So thanks again for following along, everyone. I will see you soon. I'm excited to get to work on the trunk floors. Those are coming up next. Stay tuned next week for those videos, Wednesday and Saturday. And who knows what else I'll be working on next. After that, I think we're going to work on getting the doors to close. I'm going to get to work on the dash. I've got some gauges up there. I think you guys might be able to see them. Got a few gauges up there. I got a bunch of aluminum sheet that I'm going to use. Going to cut up some aluminum, do an aluminum overlay on the dash, mount my gauges in that. I'm going to get the aprons cut down, get those aprons installed on the car. And then I'm going to start, I think, finish welding some things. I'm going to finish weld the shock mount, finish weld the headlights, the headlight bar. I think I'm going to switch the headlights out. I think I'm going to run an old chrome set that I have, which is up here. I actually bought those from a viewer. Those are old Studebaker fire truck headlights. Those things are like crazy, crazy, crazy rare headlights. So I'm really excited to put those on the car. I do need to get one of the turn signal lenses. I'm probably never going to find one, but it's the thrill of the hunt, right, guys? Hopefully someday I'll be able to find one. And until then, I'll run it without one. Whatever. But they're old chrome, so I'm going to get those cleaned up. I think I'm going to add a little bit of bling here and there to the car. And when I mean bling, I mean old chrome bling. I got a few old chrome things, like old chrome emergency brake handle, old chrome headlights. Yeah, just to try to spice things up a little bit, you know? Make it just a even cooler old cool hot rod. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye-bye.
Well, life has nearly killed me, and my mind has put me on the edge. Life has nearly killed me, and my mind has put me on the edge. I can barely crawl, I've got to walk where these ain't